We will begin with liquidators or liquidation of companies. Start. Have a reading liquidation of companies. What is the process of liquidation? There are different types of winding up. Which you would have learned in company law. If you don't learn also, no problem. Okay, there are different types. One is creditors can apply to the court for winding up if the dues are not paid. Lenders can apply to the court for winding up. Or shareholders, if there is a mismanagement, you can apply to the court for winding up. Or company, they themselves pass a resolution and go for what? Winding up. You call it as voluntary winding up. Or law may interfere. Operating this company or running this company will be a dangerous one for the society or environment. They can order for a winding up. There are different types of winding up. But winding up as a process, the first process is appointing a liquidator. Appointing which one? A liquidator. Who can be a liquidator? Anyone elected by shareholders in case of voluntary winding up, or anyone appointed by court. For all the winding up through court, who will appoint the liquidator? Court will appoint the liquidator. What the liquidator will do? For example, we shareholders appointed a person as a liquidator, or a court has appointed a liquidator. What the liquidator should do or will do? Number one, sell the assets. Sell the assets and pay the liabilities. Liquidator's job is to liquidate. What do you mean by liquidate? Sell the assets one by one, then settle the liabilities one by one. Then finally, the money will be paid to preference shareholders. Lastly, the money will be paid to whom? Equity shareholders, like that. So that is called as a function of a liquidator. Sell the assets and pay the money to whom? The contributories. Okay, pay the money to lenders and others. Okay, so the liquidator will submit after everything is over. They will give a statement. They will give a statement that is called as liquidators final statement of accounts. It is not liquidator statement of final accounts. Okay, it is liquidators final statement of account. Means after everything is over, you will prepare this final statement of account and submit it. To whom it will be submitted? To the people who are interested in accounts. Number one, shareholders. Number two, the company law board. Number three, your ROC. Number three, if the court has appointed, to the court they will submit this particular liquidators. Which one? Final statement of account. This is more like a cash book. Where you will record all the receipts and all payments made from where and all the money was collected to where and all the money is applied, like that they will do it. So this can be asked as a question in the exam also. Preparation of which one? Liquidators final statement of accounts. Start. Liquidation of companies. Below that, part 1. Liquidators final statement of accounts. We have got another part that I will come to that later. So liquidator submitting, okay, how the money is collected, where the money is applied. We call it as which one? Liquidators final statement of account. Now, before even the winding up starts, the company will have or might have some cash and bank balances. So take that cash and bank balances. You can use 2 by format or just without a format also you can write. So cash in hand and what? Balance at bank. This is the first line item that will be there in liquidator statement of final accounts. Then, which asset you will try to sell first? Assets which are secured or assets which are unsecured? Assets which are secured, you should, for example, secured means I have got some land and building, plant and machinery on which some loan is taken. I will try to sell that asset. Only then document will get released. For example, by pledging or hypothecating your land and building or plant and machinery, you have taken loan from the bank. When the bank will release the document? When you settle the loan. So assets specifically pledged or assets which are specifically charged, that will be sold first. Then other assets can be sold. So that will be represented. Start. Surplus from secured creditors. Surplus from which one? Secured creditors. Assets realized. It's a statement. It will have a debit side, the receipt side, other side payment side we are going to record. Assets realized less amount paid. Assets realized minus what? amount paid, net amount, the surplus will come in the outer column. Now you'll have a doubt. Let's assume asset realized is 50 lakhs. Amount payable to those people are 40 lakhs. What is the surplus available? 10 lakhs. Surplus available is how much? 10 lakhs. This will come in the debit side as surplus for which one? Secured creditors. Suppose if asset realized is 50 lakhs, obligation payable is 60 lakhs. What will happen? The 10 lakhs will be called as which one? Deficit, but we will not show on the other side. We will not show on which side? Other side. That will be included in unsecured creditors. Otherwise, what is the security realized? 50 lakhs. What is the amount payable?
60 lakhs.
Okay, to the extent of 50 lakhs, you got secured. You got which one? Secured. What about the remaining 10 lakhs?
Unsecured.
Unsecured. That will be included in what? Unsecured creditors. Please make a note here. Please make a note here. If there is a deficit, please make a note. If there is a deficit, it will be included in which one? Unsecured creditors. It will be included in which one? Unsecured creditors. If there is a deficit, it will be included in which one? Unsecured creditors. Next, sundry assets realized. This can be other assets. This can be which one? Other assets. Other assets means it can be land or building. You can just call it as fixed assets. Other fixed assets which are not specifically pledged. Current assets. Unrecorded assets, if there is any. So whatever we realize, we will record it. So cash and bank balance, surplus from which one? Secured creditors, then sundry other assets realized, you will record. This is like a receipt for us. On the payment, what is the first payment you will start?
Secured.
First, you have to provide for liquidation expenses. Liquidation expenses means what type of liquidation expenses will be there? Legal charges, okay. Amount payable to the liquidator or legal charges will be there in drafting agreement, all those things. To sell the assets, you have to give advertisements. Okay, to sell the assets, you have to give advertisements. To realize money from debtors, then some expenses will be there. Legal expenses will be there. All those things are called as which one? Liquidation expenses. First, adukku neenga provide pannidunga. Then, the next one is by liquidators remuneration. Normally, liquidators are remunerated as a percentage of asset realized. Then on settlement, record that next. So liquidation expenses, then provide for which one? Liquidators remuneration on the asset realized and the amount settled to what? Creditors, unsecured creditors, things like that. They will mention in the problem. On what basis liquidator is remunerated, that will be given in the problem. Then, if you want, you can use 2x format, otherwise it is not mandatory. He is not preparing any ledger account, so you need not use what? 2x format if you want. Okay, after providing for these things, what do you have to do next? Debenture holders. What debenture holders will get? What debenture holders will get? Debentures plus outstanding interest. Debentures plus which one? Outstanding interest till the date of settlement. They are secured loans. Generally, debentures are secured, so settle them first. Debenture holders are eligible to get what? Debentures plus all outstanding interest till the date of settlement they are eligible to get. After settling the debenture holders, who's the next one? Unsecured creditors. Unsecured creditors. Unsecured creditors. This includes preferential creditors. others. Sir, what is this preferential creditors? I'll come to that later. In the unsecured creditors, some priority is given by law to settle certain dues. They are called as which one? Preferential creditors. Just to keep it in a logical thinking to your mind, please listen. Preferential creditors means amount payable to the government. What amount you have to pay to the government? Taxes, any that is fees or whatever payable to the government. Anything that is payable to the employees. Anything that is payable to whom? Employees. Then anything that is payable to the landlord, like rent, etc. They are taken as what? Preferential. But there are certain restrictions for that. We will come to that later. So, simple. Amount payable to the government, is it secured or unsecured?
Secured.
Unsecured. I have to pay tax due. Are they holding any security? No, they are unsecured creditors. To the employees, I have to pay bonus, ESI, PF. Are you holding any security for that? No, they are unsecured. But they are taken as preferential creditors. They are taken as which one? Preferential creditors. Because before you settle other unsecured creditors, ensure that who are paid. Preferential creditors are paid. For example, you've got supplier of raw material. Okay. You've got supplier of raw material. Vendors, providers of service. All those things are there. We have got to pay money to employees, landlord, or to the government. Which one should be paid first? Settle the amount due to government, landlord, then what? Employees, they are called as preferential creditors. Then start paying to whom? The people who have supplied raw material on credit, that is unsecured creditors. Then the partly secured creditors and all, you can start paying after paying whom? Preferential creditors. So, first priority will be given to them. Then next to what? Next to other unsecured creditors. Others means other unsecured creditors. Okay, unsecured creditors are also settled. Who should be paid next? Who should be paid next? Shareholders. Which shareholders? Preference shareholders. Next you have to pay to preference shareholders. What they will get? Preference share capital plus premium if there is any promised, plus arrears of dividend if there is any. Arrears of dividend, if it is ranking for payment, you have to pay it. Settle for the preference shareholders next. After settling the preference shareholders, who are left out next? Balance is available to use the word contributories. That is equity shareholders. Equity shareholders are otherwise called as what? Contributories. Balance is available to what? Contributories. You can call it as equity shareholders. Suppose if there is a deficit. To be recovered or recovered, better. Deficit recovered from money is not sufficient to pay outsiders. Is it possible to recover from equity shareholders? Don't say impossible. Possible. When? Sir, money is not sufficient to pay the external people. Can I take money from equity shareholders? Yes. Partly paid up shares. If there are partly paid up shares, what you can do? Yeah. A list, then B list. A list is nothing but equity shareholders having partly paid up shares. Equity shareholders holding which one? Partly paid up shares. Both A list and B list refers to equity shareholders holding partly paid up shares only. What is A list? What is B list? I'll come to that later. What do you mean by A list of equity shareholders? B list of equity shareholders? Both of them are holding partly paid up shares. But who will be called as A list? Who will be called as B list? I'll explain it later. Simple. If there are partly paid up shares, maybe you would have learned earlier. Company law. Equity shareholders liability is nil or limited. Equity shareholders liability is limited or nil? Limited. What do you mean by limited? Limited to the unpaid value of shares held. Unpaid value means partly paid up value. If you hold up partly paid up shares, if you hold up which one? Partly paid up shares, you are liable to pay what? The unpaid value of shares. So equity shareholders holding partly paid up shares are liable if there is a deficit. Apart from that, is there a chance of recovery of deficit from anybody else? If there is a partly paid up share in a company, from them you can recover the money. Apart from that, in your issue of shares, either at the foundation level or accounting for share capital at your inter level, you would have learned something. Reserve capital. Have you heard about the concept reserved capital? What is a reserve capital? Not capital reserve. Reserve capital. Okay,
It's called only at the time of liquidation.
Reserve capital can be called up only at the time of which one? Liquidation of the company if the money is insufficient. If the money is which one? Insufficient to settle outsiders. If the money is insufficient to pay the outsiders. So amount called from reserve capital. This will also be there. So these things will be done only when there is a deficit. Now what is the difference between A list and B list? I will give it to you separately. Now take it up. This account will tally. If there is a surplus, you pay to contributories. They are called as which one? Equity shareholders. There is a deficit also. You try to recover from what? The shareholders holding which one? Partly paid up shares. There are two types of shareholders. One is A list equity shareholders. Then what? B list equity shareholders. Then amount called from which one? Reserve capital if there is any. This will give us the final statement of account. Is it an estimate or actuals? Is it estimate or actual? Actual. After collections and payments, finally this liquidator statement of final accounts will be given by the liquidator to the appointing authority. If shareholder appoints, to the shareholders the report will be submitted. If court appoints, to the court it will be submitted. Now what is pending in this? Understanding of which one? A list and which one? B list. Start. Note. Note after the liquidator statement of accounts. Preference shareholders holding partly paid up shares also, the money can be collected. After recovering from all these things, preference shareholders, if they hold partly paid up shares, the money is not sufficient for paying external liabilities, yes, you can collect the money. Start. What is the note? A list of contributories. A list of contributories. A list of contributories. Underline below that. Equity shareholders holding partly paid up shares. Equity shareholders holding partly paid up shares at the time of winding up. At the time of winding up. Adan already சொன்னீங்கன்னு கேட்காதீங்க. B list explain பண்ணும்போது you will understand. What is A list? Equity shareholders holding partly paid up shares at the time of winding up. This is which one? A list. Next, B list. B list. Some shareholders escape. How will they escape? They know that the company is going to be liquidated. Some problem is there. What they will do is they will try to sell the shares and escape from the company. Okay. Now, B list of contributories are those who transferred partly paid up shares within 1 year prior to winding up. Who transferred what? Partly paid up shares within 1 year prior to winding up of the company. Within 1 year prior to winding up of the company. They are also liable. Sir, on the date of winding up, I am not a shareholder. But have you transferred your partly paid up share in the last 1 year? If you say yes, you are also liable. You are also liable. How will you be made liable? Law makes you liable. That's all. Start. B lists. B list. Equity shareholders who transferred their partly paid up shares. Equity shareholders who transferred their partly paid up shares within 1 year prior to winding up of the company. Equity shareholders who transferred their partly paid up shares within 1 year prior to winding up of the company. Equity shareholders who transferred their partly paid up shares within 1 year prior to winding up of the company, they will also contribute. Partly paid up shares, fully paid share transfer, no problem. If you're holding fully paid up share, already your obligation is over, no more liability. If you're holding partly paid up share only, you will come in A list if you are a current shareholder. You will come in B list if you are a shareholder within what? 1 year prior to winding up of the company. Then amount can be called from which capital? Reserve capital also. Then preference shareholder we will learn specifically. Sorry. This one, what is it? Preferential creditors I will discuss in detail separately to you. As of now, keep it in mind. What is it?
Government.
Amount payable to government, landlord, then what? Employees. These three things are preferential. We will go for an in-depth analysis. So preparing the statement, we call it as which one? Liquidator statement of annual accounts. It looks very easy, sir. What is there in it? What is there in it? There is a thing in it. We have to understand. Okay, how the money is distributed to shareholders. How the money is distributed to shareholders, that will be there. That we have to understand. Okay. We'll go to a problem. Wait. Yeah. Please come to question number 5. T Limited was placed on voluntary liquidation on what date? 31st December 2013. The balance sheet is given to you. Equity shares are given. Then preference shares are given. Look at calls in arrears. There is a calls in arrears. Preference shares are fully paid. Share premium, debentures, interest on debentures, bank OD. Then what is given? Creditors are given. We are given various assets. Then P&L account is given. Preference dividend are in arrears for how many years? From 2014 onwards arrears. Then read further. Additional information. The company's articles provide that on liquidation, out of the surplus assets remaining after payment of liquidation cost and outside liabilities, firstly it will be paid for which one? Arrears of preference dividend. Which means the liquidator should settle what? Preference dividend arrears also. Then you pay for preference share capital. You pay for which one? Preference share capital at a premium of 10 rupees per share. So what the preference shareholders are going to get? Capital, arrears of dividend plus premium of how much? 10 rupees per share. Then finally the balance will be given to whom? Equity shareholders after paying all these things. Then the bank OD was guaranteed by whom? Directors who were called upon by the bank to discharge the obligation because it was under guarantee. So bank OD will be paid by whom? Directors. And to the directors the company should reimburse. You are a director, you are paying for the company's bank OD and the directors will be paid back for the bank OD paid by them. Then liquidator realized the asset as follows. Freehold property, plant and machinery, motor vehicle, stock, debtors and what? Calls and arrears also they realized. Creditors are paid at a discount of 5%. Debenture interest and accrued interest were paid on 31st March 2018. Liquidation cost is how much? 3,820. Liquidator is entitled for a remuneration of 2% on the amount realized. What do you mean by amount realized?
The realized.
Whatever may be the amount realized in the amounts, including calls and arrears. Whatever liquidator has realized, add pannunga, in remuneration pay pannu. 2% pay pannu. It's a very good question, a simple question, a fantastic question for 10 marks in the exam. Shall we? Now, before we proceed further, I request you to go through this format for about 5 minutes, then let us continue. Look at the order. Cash in hand and balance with bank. Surplus from secured creditors if there is any. Then other asset realized. If there is a deficit, we will recover. Provide for liquidation expenses from liquidators remuneration. Then debenture holders including arrears of interest, unsecured creditors classified into preferential and others. Then preferential shareholders should be paid. Then balance available for whom? Equity shareholders. Now let me to apply this in this problem. Let me to work out. You just listen. I will give you time to copy. First problem, listen and you can copy. Second problem, we will do it together. Now, doubt. Kill me.
Sir, we all know like the first is surplus for some creditors, in which assets are given, on which charge is created, the assets are paid off, and then there comes an asset realization. So first the asset realization.
This asset realized means assets which are specifically pledged or mortgaged or hypothecated.
So that will specifically first realize, and
Yes.
that will come in the asset.
No, this is other asset realized.
Okay.
We can mention sundry other assets realized. That will give a better understanding. Sundry other assets realized. This asset means assets which are specifically pledged or which are having the charge. This asset refers to assets which are not having any what? Charge. Start. Is there any opening cash balance, bank balance available? Check பண்ணுங்க. Asset side, of course. Is there any opening cash balance, bank balance? No. So that will not come. What is the next one? Surplus from secured creditors. Check the problem. Is there any mentioning about secured creditors? Is there anything given like this loan was taken against motor vehicle, or this loan was taken against factory, or this loan was taken against plant and machinery? Like that, is there any security? Secured loan? No secured loan. So directly we can start with which one? Sundry assets realized. Okay. So sundry assets realized. Tell me one by one the values.
Freehold fact.
This one, realized amount. Book value is irrelevant for us. Please remember, are we preparing a P&L account? No, we are preparing a cash book.
Yes.
We just see receipts and which one? Payment. Don't bother about profit or loss. Sir, factory building is there 5,80,000. But 7 lakhs realized பண்ணிருக்கோம். The profit என்ன பண்றது? We are not here to work out which one? Profit or loss. Work out. Freehold factory how much?
7 lakhs.
7 lakhs. Then
Plant and machinery.
plant and machinery how much?
2 lakh 40,000.
2,40,000. Tell me fast then.
Motor vehicle.
Motor vehicles
59,000.
59,000. Then
Stock.
stock
1 lakh 50,000.
1,50,000. Then
Debtors.
debtors
60,000.
60,000. Then
Calls in arrears.
calls and arrears 25,000. So total amount realized will come 12 lakh 34,000. Once again I repeat, there is no opening balance, there is no specifically secured assets or loans which are having security on a particular asset. So we just recorded which one? Various assets realized. Calls and arrears is also collected. Now come to the payment side. What is the first one?
Liquidation.
Liquidation expenses. By liquidation expenses,
3,000.
liquidation expenses பாருங்க last line கொடுத்திருக்கான். What is the liquidation cost? 3,820. 3,820. Next என்ன பண்ணணும்?
Remuneration.
Liquidators remuneration should be paid.
2%.
I didn't get your point. Can you unmute and ask? Why the amount settled to creditors coming under remuneration? See, sometimes, liquidator will get paid both for asset realized as well as what? Liability paid. Okay. Why? And to ensure that they are properly paying. Because identifying the creditors and settling them proportionately takes time. He performs the work not only in realizing the assets, but in paying what? Unsecured creditors. Wait. Will there be a single unsecured creditor? For example, unsecured creditor means the money is due, but they don't have any security. They may be whom? Suppliers, unsecured loan providers. Okay. So any payment that is not having a security, we call it as which one? Unsecured creditor. Will there be a single person or multiple people? So identifying them, paying them in a proper order matters. So liquidator sometimes is paid commission based on what? Both asset realized as well as what? Amount paid to unsecured creditors. So they will get it. But in this problem, check the remuneration.
2% on amount.
In this problem, we are given only what? 2% on the amount realized. What is amount realized?
12 lakh 34.
All amount realized. So 12 lakh 34,000 into what percentage? 24,680. Liquidators remuneration is paid. Then what is the next one?
Debenture.
You have to pay whom?
Debenture holder.
Debenture holders. Debenture holders. What is the face value?
1 lakh.
Balance sheet la parunga. Face value is given. What is the balance sheet face value? 1 lakh is there. That face value. Then interest accrued. Interest accrued in balance sheet எவ்வளவு இருக்கு? 2,500. What is the total amount you have to pay? 1 lakh 2,500. Like that, many students close in the exam. This area where many students go wrong. This area where when many students go wrong. Pay attention. When the balance sheet is given?
31st December 2017.
31st December 2017. Look at the settlement date. 31st March 2018. Balance sheet was given on 31st December 2017, but we are settling on 31st March 2018.
3 months.
This 2,500 includes accrued interest up to what date? 31st December 2017. Add interest from what date? 1st January to 31st March. How much? 1 lakh into eவ்வளவு percent?
5%.
5% for 3 months. This you must work out. How much?
1,250.
1,250. Also you have to add and pay, because if you are a loan provider, you are eligible to get till the loan is settled. Once again, I repeat. Any doubt in face value? What is the face value?
The balance.
1 lakh. What is accrued interest given in the balance sheet?
2,500.
2,500. It was up to 31st December, but interest is payable till the date of settlement. So 1st January to 31st March. For the intervening period also you have to pay the interest. How much? 1,250. So totally how much you will settle?
1 lakh.
1,03,750. So debenture holders are settled. But யாருக்கு pay பண்ணணும்?
Unsecured.
Unsecured creditors. Okay, before going for unsecured creditors, look at the bank OD. What is the bank OD? 58,000. Who paid this bank OD?
Director.
Directors. Whether you have to pay to the directors or just leave it?
Pay.
You have to pay to the directors. Bank OD hyphen payable to the directors. How much you have to pay? Check the balance sheet.
58,000.
Yeah, we have not mentioned any other different amount, so 58,000 we have to pay. Then unsecured creditors. In this problem, there is no mention about preferential creditors. Creditors எவ்வளவு இருக்கு?
1 lakh.
1,15,000. Check if there is any discount.
5%.
Yes. Creditors were settled at a discount of 5%. Unsecured creditors minus 5%. எவ்வளவு வருது பாருங்க?
1 lakh 9,000.
1,09,250. So unsecured creditors are also paid. Any doubt about it? Why minus 5%? Given in the problem. Okay, discount of 5% settled. Once again, now, any doubt in asset realized? It's given in the problem. Order of payment. First, which one?
Expense.
Liquidation expenses. Next,
Rent.
remuneration is based on amount realized into 2% in this problem. No other thing. Debenture holders are eligible to get the face value plus accrued interest in the balance sheet plus accrued interest up to the date of settlement, 3 months. So how much they are eligible to get? 1,03,750 they will get. Bank OD was paid by directors, you have to reimburse it. Unsecured creditors are paid at what percentage discount?
5%.
5%. இப்போ next யாருக்கு pay பண்ணணும்?
Preferential.
Preferential creditors கொடுக்கல. Next, which one you have to pay?
Preferential.
Preference shareholders you have to pay. Pay attention. Check the problem. Look at point number A. The company's article provide that out of the surplus after remaining after payment of liquidation cost and outside liabilities, first it will be paid for which one? Arrears of dividend. Look at adjustments. Paranga, what is given?
24.
The preference dividend are in arrears from which year? 2014 onwards, the preference dividends are in arrears. So the balance sheet is given on December 2017. So how many years arrear you have to pay? Minus பண்ணி பார்க்காதீங்க. 2014, 15, 16, 17. How many years arrears? 4 years plus 3 months apply பண்ணக்கூடாது. Only for loans. It will be on proportionate basis. Okay. For shares, it is only on what? Year to year basis. So 2014, 15, 16, 17, how many years arrears?
4 years.
4 years arrears. So how much will be the arrear? 6 lakhs into eவ்வளவு percentage preference shares? 5% for 4 years. So arrears of dividend. 6 lakhs into eவ்வளவு percent?
5%.
5% for how many years?
4 years.
4 years. How much you get?
1,20,000.
1,20,000. Correct? Check பண்ணுங்க. 6 lakhs, 5% for 4 years. Then, next என்ன சொல்லியிருக்கான்? Firstly paid for arrears of dividend. Secondly என்ன சொல்லியிருக்கான்? Preference share capital together with the premium of how much? 10 per share. Next you have to pay preference share capital. Preference share capital எவ்வளவு இருக்கு? 6 lakhs.
6,000.
Premium. How many shares are there? 6,000 preference shares are there. Each shareholder is getting how much premium? 10 rupees per share. 6,000 into 10 எவ்வளவு வரும்? 60,000 you have to pay. So total
6 lakhs.
including arrears of dividend, what is the total? 7,80,000. Now you can tally this account. You can tally this account and pay the equity shareholders the balance. Total there's a balance, Leah. By which one? Equity shareholders. How much they will get? Equity shareholders, how much they will get? This minus the total of all the other things.
1,54,000.
One lakh 54,500. This is a balancing figure. Arrears of dividend, if it is given in the balance sheet, it will have no effect. We have to just pay the arrears of dividend, that's all. Suppose if they would have given only 2 lakhs in the problem in the balance sheet, remaining amount you have to add and pay on the Mari. But arrears of dividend in the balance sheet have no effect. No, wait. Okay, wait. How much will be paid per share? Check the equity share capital.
50,000 equity shares.
50,000 equity shares are there. How much is the total amount available? 1,54,500. 1,54,500 is paid to the equity shareholders for how many shares?
50,000.
50,000 shares now. How much is paid per share? Rupees?
3.0.
3. Okay, 3.1 per share. Once again, what is the amount left for equity shareholders? 1,54,500. How many shares are there? 50,000 shares are there. Each shareholder will get how much? 3.1 per share. This you have to notify in the exam. This you have to separately note in the exam. A minute recap before we continue. Any doubt on asset realized? Liquidation expenses? Any doubt? Remuneration for the liquidator would 12,34,000 develop percent. 2%. Debenture holders are paid the face value. Amount already there in the balance sheet plus additional interest from 1 to 31st March. 3 months accrued interest you have to pay. Board of directors are eligible to get the reimbursement of the loan paid by them. Unsecured creditors are paid at 5% discount. Preference shareholders will get arrears plus capital plus premium this much. Balance is paid to whom? Balance for whom? Equity shareholders. Balance for equity shareholders. Now for this session, I will not add any knowledge, which means no extra adjustment I will add. We are going to practice problems. Okay, here the settlement difficulties might be added. Commission calculation difficulty might be added. Identifying unsecured creditors, preferential creditors difficulty might be added, that we will see. But conceptually, this is liquidator statement of final accounts. Take up this. Okay, let us concentrate in the class. Please go through, please take it up. If you have taken up, be silent. Here there is only one category of shareholders, so 1,54,500 divided by 50,000 shares, 3.1 per share. Liquidators commission is based on the amount realized. 12,34,000 into 2%. So debenture holders get all these things. Don't go to the next question. I'll like give you a separate question, then you will see. I'll like to give a separate question. Wait for me. Over. Copy. Wait. Balance sheet values are not relevant. The share premium NSR பண்ணது ignore பண்ணுங்க. Or in the balance sheet values of assets, what to do? Just ignore. They are recorded balances. Just ignore. This is based on what is realized and what is paid. More like a cash book. More like a cash book. Collections and payments are recorded. General of P&L account, the book value of assets and liabilities doesn't matter. What is realized and what is paid matters. Shall we start? Take up this question. Share capital of ABC Limited as on 31st March 2022. 1 lakh equity shares, rupees 100 each, fully paid. 1 lakh equity shares of rupees 100 each, 80 paid up. 1 lakh equity shares of rupees 100 each, rupees 60 paid up. After paying external liabilities and preference share capital, the amount left with the liquidator is rupees 20 lakhs or 30 lakhs. Show how the payment will be made to equity shareholders. After paying external liabilities and preference share capital, what is the final amount left?
30 lakhs.
30 lakhs final amount இருக்கு. They ask you to show how the payment will be made amongst whom? Equity shareholders. How will you pay? Like amount சொல்லுங்க. How much you will pay for each category? So that everybody will get the equal amount.
12 lakh 50.
எப்படி 12 lakh 50? யாருக்கு 12 lakh 50?
100 each.
ஓகே 100 each எவ்வளோ?
12 lakh 50.
அடுத்தவனுக்கு
10 lakhs.
10 lakhs.
பர் ஷேர் சொல்லுங்க.
12.5 per share.
12.5 per share for
Everybody. Second one
Every-
வந்து
everybody.
80,000 shares. Third one வந்து 60,000 shares.
இல்ல per share how much you will pay?
12,500.
Per share how much you will pay?
For whom, sir?
For each category you tell me.
For each category. Okay, sir.
For example, for 1 lakh shareholders this much, sir. For next 1 lakh shareholders this much. For next 1 lakh shareholders this much per share. No, no.
1 lakh. 100 rupees only paid.
12.5
rupees each.
12.5, sir.
Next
10
10 rupees.
100 rupees paid க்கு 12.5 தருவீங்க.
10. Next to 10.
For those who have invested 80 rupees you will give what?
10 per
10.
share.
அப்ப நான் நினைச்சு வாங்கினா. Imagine, let's assume, pay attention. I invested 100 rupees, I get how much? 100 rupees I invested, how much I get?
12.
As per your answer, 12.5. She invested 80. She is getting 10 rupees. I have invested, compared to her, I invested 20 rupees extra. She invested how much? 80 paid up. She gets 10 rupees now. I should get 20 more. Okay, once again, listen. How much is my paid up capital? 100 rupees. How much is her paid up capital? 80 now. Compared to her, I should get how much more? 20 rupees per share more I should get.
Yes.
Now you are telling 12.5 and 10 na, like 100 rupees invest பண்ணவனு 12.5, 80 rupees invest பண்ணவனு 10 ரூபா கொடுத்தோம்னா I get only 2.5 rupees extra. That is not logical.
Percentage தானே sir.
Percentage matter.
20% இப்ப extra pay பண்ணிருக்காங்க. 100 rupees shareholders 80.
20% pay பண்ணல extra. Think. Amount எனக்கு வேணும். நீங்க percentage வச்சுக்கங்க, amount வச்சுங்க, என்ன வேணா வச்சுங்க. Suppose, wait. 80 rupees invest பண்ணவனுக்கு நீங்க 10 ரூபா கொடுத்தா எனக்கு 30 ரூபா தரணும். எல்லாம் கொலை பண்ணிடும். அதான logic. For example, she is holding 1 lakh shares of 80 rupees paid up. If you pay her 10 rupees per share, I am holding 1 lakh, which is 100 rupees paid up. How much more you should pay me?
Sir,
Yes, please.
1.25 per share for the first category.
Which means for this category, 1.25 per share.
அதுக்கப்புறம் 1 rupee, then 0.75.
எப்படிங்க? எப்படி?
I divided
No.
3 lakhs.
I tell you, compared to this second category, compared to this highlighted second category, the first category should get 20 rupees more. Per share, you should get 20 rupees more. Don't think too much. DJ sir, இந்த equivalent production லாம் சொல்லி இருந்திருப்பார், அதை வச்சு apply பண்ணாதீங்க. Think normally. அதாவது லாஜிக்கலாவே திங்க் பண்ணுங்க. 80 rupees இன்வெஸ்ட் பண்ணனுக்கு நீங்க 10 ரூபா கொடுத்தா 100 rupees பே பண்ணனுக்கு 30 rupees தரணும். அதான் லாஜிக். உங்க ஆன்சர் சொல்லும்போது டிசைட் ஆயிடும். Otherwise, see, compared to 60 rupees invested person, 80 rupees invested person should get 20 rupees more. Compared to 60 rupees invested person, 100 rupees invested person should get how much? 40 rupees more. No, I want per share amount. I want per share amount. For second 10 rupees, okay. அப்புறம் just think. எனக்கு answer தெரியாது. I do not know the answer. But I based on your answer, I can make out whether the answer is correct.
8 lakh.
நான் per share answer கேட்டேன்.
Divided by 1 lakh. 10, 8,
12,
10 rupees, 8 rupees.
அது either the teacher or the student should be okay. Brilliant கூட தேவையில்லை. இவனுக்கு டிஃபரன்ஸ் 20 rupees சொல்லியிருக்கேன்.
Sir, no the choice, sir. Ratio wise from the other 20 rupees. Sir.
அப்படிலாம் சொல்லக்கூடாது. CA institute will have always a choice. இல்ல நான் குழுவே கொடுத்துட்டேன், இதுக்கு மேல என்ன கொடுத்துருக்கேன், ஆன்சர் தான் சொல்ல முடியும். டூ கேட்டகரி ஒரு டிஃபரன்ஸ் should be how much? 20.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. 1 minute. Right.
I'll pause the recording. After solving this problem, I'll tell you a Saddharthi story, which will be applicable for our class.
First 60க்கு வந்து like
இவனுக்கு
Liquidators shareholders எல்லாத்துக்கும் ஒரே இதுல தான் கிடைக்கும்.
எனக்கு அமௌண்ட் சொல்லுங்க. ப்ராப்ளம்ல தியரி பேசுவாங்க, ப்ராப்ளம்ல அமௌண்ட் சொல்லுங்க. சப்போஸ் if you tell சார் இவனுக்கு நான் 5 ரூபா கொடுக்குறேன்னா இவனுக்கு எவ்வளவு தரணும், 25 rupees தரணும், 20 rupees மோர் கொடுக்கணும், இவனுக்கு எவ்வளவு கொடுக்கணும், 45 rupees you should get. If you tell 5 rupees per share for this person should get 20 more. This person should get 20 more than the other party.
நான் வந்து 100 rupees-ஓட பேஸா வச்சு கம்பேர் பண்ணும்போது அதுலதான் நான் 20
நீங்க எதை வேணாலும் நீங்க கம்பேர் பண்ணீங்க, லாஜிக்கலா திங்க் பண்ணுங்க.
சார் லாஜிக்கலா பேசும்போது நம்ம பர்சன்டேஜா எடுத்துதானே. இப்போ நான் வந்து 5 rupees உங்களுக்கு வந்து 60 rupees எனக்கு 5 rupees pay பண்றேன். அதோட 20% தான் நான் ஆட் பண்ணுவேன்.
இதுக்கு 20% ஆட் பண்ண முடியாது.
20 rupees
See the amount. அப்ப நீங்க பர்சன்டேஜ் வச்சு என்ன ஏமாத்த கூடாது. ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் 60 ரூபா பே பண்றதுக்கு 2 ரூபா கொடுத்தா நான் 80 ரூபா பே பண்ணிருக்கேன், எனக்கு எவ்வளவு வேணும், 22 rupees வேணும் எனக்கு. லாஜிக்கலாவே திங்க் பண்ணுங்களேன்.
பேஸ் வந்து 60 rupees-னு வச்சுட்டு ஷேர்ஸ் வந்து நம்பர் ஆஃப் ஷேர்ஸ் வந்து
நீங்க எப்படி வேணா வச்சுக்கங்க ஆன்சர்.
80 rupees, 10 rupees.
அப்போ 20 rupees difference வரலையே. I want the difference of 20. For example, sir, நீங்க ஆன்சர் சொல்லும்போது 60, இவனுக்கு 40, இவனுக்கு 20 நான் கூட நான் அக்செப்ட் பண்ணிருப்பேன். என்ன difference between these two is what? 20 rupees. Compared to this man is getting more. This man is getting more, accept பண்ணிருப்பேன். But I'm yet to accept your answer. We'll see.
Share in that difference இருக்குமா சார்?
ஆமா.
கேக்குறேன் சார்.
Okay, let me do. Pay attention. Pay attention. This can be worked out by a simple logical working. Pay attention. Let us see the paid up capital. Let us see the paid up capital of the company. All are having the same face value, dane? 1 lakh into 100, first category என்ன வரும்? 1 lakh into 100 என்ன வரும்? First category 1 crore. Then second category
Into
1 lakh into 80 எவ்வளவு வரும்?
80 lakhs.
Next category 1 lakh into 60 how much?
60 lakhs.
60 lakhs. So what is the total paid up capital?
2 crore 40.
2 crore 40 lakhs. Less amount available to equity shareholders. எவ்வளவு amount available இருக்கு?
30 lakhs.
30 lakhs is the amount available to equity shareholders. So what is the loss of capital?
2 lakhs. 2 crore 10.
2 crore 10 lakhs is the loss of capital. Sir, நான் 2 crore 40 lakhs invest பண்ணிருக்கேன், நீங்க எனக்கு 30 lakhs இருக்குன்னு சொல்றீங்க. So what is the loss of capital? 2 crore 10 lakhs. So per share loss will be 2 crore 10 lakhs divided by total எவ்வளவு shares இருக்கு?
3 lakhs.
1 lakh, 1 lakh, 1 lakh, 3 lakh shares are there. So divide பண்ணுங்க, 2 crore 10 lakh divided by 10, 3 lakhs போட்டு என்ன வருது?
70.
Rupees எவ்வளவு வருது per share loss?
70.
70 வருது. 70 per share. Now there are 3 paid up values. எவ்வளவு paid up value இருக்கு?
180 and 60.
100, 80, then 60. What is the loss per share? 70 loss per share. இங்க என்ன இருக்கும்? 70 தான் loss per share. So surplus பாருங்க, எவ்வளவு surplus இருக்கு இவங்கிட்ட? 30 இருக்கு, இவங்கிட்ட எவ்வளவு இருக்கும்? 10. இவனுக்கு என்ன இருக்கும்? -10. இவனுக்கு deficit. So for the person who is having a surplus, pay attention. First category பாருங்க, how much you invested?
100,
100. What is the loss per share?
70,
70. What is the surplus per share?
30,
30. This into எவ்வளவு shares இருக்கு? 1 lakh shares இருக்கு. 1 lakh shares இருக்கு. 1 lakh into 30 எவ்வளவு pay பண்ணணும்? 30 lakhs you will pay for the first category. Second category இருக்கு இல்லையா? 10 surplus இருக்கு. 10 into எவ்வளவு shares இருக்கு? 1 lakh shares. So which means how much you will pay? 10 lakhs you will pay for the second category. Deficit இருந்தா collect பண்ணணும். Deficit இருந்தா what you have to do? You have to collect from the person. Into எவ்வளவு இருக்கும்? 1 lakh. How much it will be? 10 lakhs to collect from third category. To collect from rupees 60 paid up shares. Now if you look at what is the total amount paid? What is the total amount paid?
40,
40 lakhs. Deficit how much is collected?
10,
10 lakhs collected. What is the net amount paid?
13,
30 lakhs. Other the 30 lakhs. Now you can cross check. Pay attention. What is the paid up value? What is the paid up value per share? What is the paid up value? No, paid up value 100. Second category, okay. Second category 80. Third category how much is there? 60 is there. Look at the net surplus. Simple. If the man who has invested 80 gets 10 rupees and the shareholder who has invested 100 should get what? 30. Look at, you invested 80, for that 10 rupees surplus is paid now. I have invested how much?
100,
100, I should get how much more?
20.
Rupees more than you. Compare 80 and 60. For a person who has invested 80 gets back 10 now, the person who has invested 60 should pay to the company how much? 10 rupees. Should pay the company 10 rupees. We can also prepare it. If you look at, wait, what is the surplus available? What is the surplus available? 30 lakhs. Okay. Collection from collection irukku இல்லையா? Collection from which category? Third category. எவ்வளவு collect பண்றோம்? 10 lakhs we collect, and payment to first category 30 lakhs pay பண்றோம், and payment to second category how much pay பண்றோம்? 10 lakhs pay பண்றோம். Surplus available தான் கொடுத்திருக்கேன் 30 lakhs. Question கொடுத்திருக்கேன். Surplus available from the liquidators 30 lakhs. The simple logic is depending upon the amount paid. ரொம்ப simple. நீ எதுக்கு அக்கவுண்ட்ஸோ எதுவுமே CA எதுவுமே திங்க் பண்ணாதீங்க. For example, I invested 80. If I get back 10, you invested 100. How much you should get back?
More,
Compared to me, you should get how much more?
20,
20 rupees more. 20 rupees more. Okay. So that's why if 10 rupees is paid back to this category, 30 rupees will be paid back to what? First category. Logically also understood. Next, 80 rupees invest பண்ணனுக்கு 10 rupees தரோம்னா, the other party has invested what? 60 means he has invested 20 rupees less, which means he has to contribute to the company how much? 10. So which means the person who has invested 60 rupees should pay the company the 10 rupees. Otherwise, what is the loss per share? What is the loss per share?
70,
70. You invested 100, get back 30. Other party invested 80, get back 10. You have invested only 60, now pay 10 rupees more. That's it. Take it up. This model question only will be tested in exam as a part of a big problem. You will pay everything. Final amount payable to shareholders are clear. You have to work out like this and pay. Question number 6. Okay. The following is the balance sheet of Unfortune Limited as on 31st December 2017 is given. Okay. Come back to the question, please. Promotion chapter come back. Preference share capital 4 lakhs. Equity share capital, one category is 75 paid, another category is what? 60 paid. From this itself we can make out. Suppose for a 60 paid shareholder, if you pay 5 rupees, the other party should get what? 15 rupees more. Difference between the 75 paid up and 60 paid up shareholder should be at least what? 15 rupees. Then debentures, outstanding interest, creditors are given. Various things are given. Then In this problem, yes, cash at bank, how much is given? 60,000 is given. Read further. On the above date, the company went into liquidation, okay? Dividend on preference shares, arrears for how many years? 2 years. Arrears are payable on liquidation as per AOA. Creditors include loan of 1 lakh, mortgage on which one? Land and building, which means secured creditors are given. Assets realized are as under. Land and building, plant and machinery, patent stock, debtors realized is given. Expenses on liquidation amounted to 21,800. Liquidator is entitled for a commission of 3% on all asset realized, means all these things. Except which balance?
Cash back.
Of course, it is not a realized asset. It is the balance is already this, so no commission is paid to them. And what?
And a commission
And the commission of how much?
amount
2% on amount distributed to unsecured creditors. Preferential creditors amounted to how much? 30,000. All the payments had been made on 30th June 2017. Prepare liquidator statement of account or liquidator's final statement of account. What I request is, try to work out till the last part. What is the last part? Amount payable to whom? Equity shareholders. All the other part you can work out. I hope the whatever we learnt as a format will get filled up in this. You will have all these points covered. Except A list, B list. Everything is covered. Cash in hand balance bank will be there. Surplus from secured creditors will be there. Sundry other assets will be there. Deficit irukadhu nenikiren. And all these points are covered. Try. And tell me step by step also. I'll also do it so that lag of time can be avoided. What is opening balance?
60,000.
How much?
60,000.
60,000. Opening balance 60,000. Then surplus from secured creditors. Which asset secured?
Land and building. 2,40,000.
Land and building realized 2,40,000. Loan amount is
1 lakh.
1 lakh. Surplus
1 lakh.
1,40,000 is there, sir, surplus. Apro. Sundry assets. Sundry assets realized. என்ன இருக்கு பாருங்க. Plant and machinery, how much?
4 lakhs.
4 lakhs then.
Patents.
Patents.
60,000.
Then
Stock.
stock.
1,20,000.
Then
Sundry debtors.
debtors.
1,60,000.
1,60,000. Liquidation expenses. எவ்வளவு இருக்கு? 21.
800.
Liquidators remuneration, two categories are on assets realized. On asset realized, எவ்வளவு போடணும்?
2%.
On which amount?
3%.
3% on which amount?
7 lakh. 40,000. Add 1 lakh.
Add 1 lakh.
2 lakh.
1 lakh 40.
2 lakh 40.
2 lakh 40. Yeah.
Plus 2 lakh.
Whatever these
Correct now. 7,40,000 plus 2,40,000 into எவ்வளவு percent? 3%.
Yes, sir.
3%. 3% on the asset realized. This 7,40,000 plus land and building realized value. Don't take surplus. 2,40,000 plus the 7,40,000 into how much percentage? 3%. 29. Then B on unsecured creditors. This we will come to that later. Leave one line gap. We will come to that later. Unsecured creditors payment is not known to us. We will come to this after some time. அப்புறம் யாருக்கு பே பண்ண நெக்ஸ்ட் debenture holders. What is the face value? Face value எவ்வளவு இருக்கு?
2 lakhs.
2 lakhs. Add accrued interest. Interest in the balance sheet. What is accrued interest in the balance sheet?
10,000.
Add, you have to add interest
Till June.
up to June. 2 lakhs into எவ்வளவு percent?
5%.
5% for how many months?
6 months. 5,000.
எவ்வளவு இருக்கு?
5,000.
So you have to pay all these things. Total எவ்வளவு வருது? 2,15,000. This you have to pay to whom? Debenture holders. Then, what is the next one?
Unsecured creditors.
Unsecured creditors. First you have to settle whom? Preferential creditors separately given in the problem. எவ்வளவு இருக்கும்? 30,000. Then you have to pay for others. Others, how to determine? Check the balance sheet. Check the balance sheet. Creditors எவ்வளவு இருக்கு பாருங்க. 2,90,000 ல wait பண்ணுங்க. 2,90,000 ல already 1 lakh secured loan is included. Preferential creditors 30,000 included. So balance will be others. Out of 2,90,000, eliminate how much? 1 lakh and which one?
30.
Minus 30,000 also.
1,60,000.
Do you understand this calculation? Out of 2,90,000, 1 lakh secured, 30,000 preferential, balance other creditors. எவ்வளவு இருக்கு? 1 lakh
60,000.
60,000 you have to pay. So totally it will be like 1,90,000. Pay attention. Commission for the unsecured creditors. Commission for the unsecured creditors. On which amount you will put? The wordings used is commission 2% on the amount distributed amongst unsecured creditors.
1,90,000.
1,90,000 into 2% or 1,60,000 into 2%.
1,90,000.
1,90,000 into 2%. They have not used the word. They have not used the word other than preferential creditors and the மாதிரி எதுவுமே சொல்ல. So 1,90,000 into how much percentage? 2%. Please remember, unsecured creditors include preferential creditors also. Only thing is that priority is given in payment for them, then balance is paid to the unsecured creditors. This into 2% how much?
38,000.
3,800. Sardarji, Sardarji. Next.
Preferential.
Preference shareholders. Preference shareholders pay the preference share capital. What is the preference share capital?
4 lakhs.
4 lakhs preference share capital. Then add arrears of dividend.
For 2 years.
2 years.
So 4 lakhs into எவ்வளவு percent?
6%.
Into 6% into 2 years. How much?
48.
So 4,48,000 you got to pay. Then balance payable to whom?
Equity share.
Balance payable to equity shareholders. How much? 32,000 available to equity shareholders. Now you have to show how the amount is going to be distributed amongst the equity shareholders. How this 32,000 is going to be distributed to equity shareholders, you have to show. If it is a 10 marks question, up to whatever you have done so far, it is only 5 marks. To explain how the amount is settled to equity shareholders, you will be given what? The 5 marks allocation. Any doubt in this remuneration calculation? $1,90,000 into 2%, 3,800. Now, how to work it? Simple. Look at the paid up capital. Rupees 75 paid up எவ்வளவு இருக்கு? 1,50,000. Total. 1,50,000. Rupees 60 paid எவ்வளவு இருக்கு?
3,60,000.
3,60,000. What is the total?
9.
I think 5 lakh 10.
5 lakh.
Less surplus or balance available. 32,000. Not loss. What is the loss?
4 lakh.
4,78,000. What is the per share loss? 4,78,000 divided by
8,000.
check the balance sheet. 6,000 plus 2,000 total
8,000.
8,000. 2,000 plus 6,000. Divide பண்ணீங்கன்னா what is the answer you get?
59.75.
59.75. 59.75 அப்படியே 59.75 வைங்க. Wait பண்ணுங்க. There are two categories now. One is how much paid up category. 75 paid category is there. Then rupees 60 paid category is there. What is the loss per share? 59.75. The other one is 59.75. So what is the surplus? 15.25. அவனுக்கு என்ன கிடைக்கும்? 0.25. Yes. Compared to the second category, first category is getting what? 15 rupees more. You can show the distribution also and verify here. For the 2,000 shareholders, we will pay how much? 15.25. For the 8,000 shareholders, we will pay only 0.25. That பண்ணி பாருங்க, it should come to 32,000 or 6,000. It will come to 32,000 in total. So compared to the person who has invested 60, the person who has invested 75 gets what? Extra 15 rupees. In your textbook, it is done in a different way. அவங்கள மாதிரி ஏதோ percentage எல்லாம் போட்டிருக்காங்க. I don't understand, so I do not want to teach that also. This is sufficient. I mean, you apply this method, you will get the answer in shortcut. So do you understand how the 32,000 is distributed? For 2,000 shareholders, we pay 15.25. For the remaining 6,000 shareholders, we pay how much? 0.25. So totally it comes to 32,000. In this problem, be happy, both are surplus. Suppose if there is a deficit, collection will come in the debit side, payment will come in the credit side. So don't put this balance. Tally பண்ணும்போது don't put this 32,000 balance, because from one category collection might come and another category what? Payment might come. So let us do a rough total and do it. Any doubt in it? Shall we? We'll do the next sum. 1 minute. Hey, can you unmute and ask me, Bhuvneshwari?
Yes, sir. Can you
Scroll up.
Thank you, sir.
This is question number 6. Question number 7 and number but it is different, little different. Try to work out question number 7. Break limited. Okay, if you work out this correctly, we will have a break. The explanation क्या It's appearing like a similar problem. Okay. Here the taxes and taxes due to the government within 12 months கொடுத்துருக்கோம். Then salaries and wages to the workers for 4 months is given. So this will be taken as which one? Preferential creditors. Preferential creditors எடுத்துக்கலாம் அது. They've given liquidators commission, bank OD, mortgage on land and building கொடுத்துருக்கோம். Land and machinery, stock, debtors realized, expense on liquidation. Liquidator realized all the assets on 1/4/2013 and settled the amount. All those things are given. Dividend on preference shares and arrears for how many years? 2 years. Okay. Try பண்ணுங்க பார்க்கலாம். Can you tell me what is a cash in hand, cash at bank?
75,000.
அப்புறம் which asset was secured?
Land and building.
Much?
For bank.
3 lakhs.
And
Bank, what is a bank OD? What is a bank OD?
1 lakh.
Thanks. 1 lakh. What is the balance?
2 lakhs.
2 lakhs. அப்புறம் other asset realized. Tell me the values.
Plant and machinery.
How much?
5 lakhs.
5 lakhs. அப்புறம் patents.
Patents. Stock.
Stock.
1 lakh 50.
Stock 1 lakh 50. அப்புறம்
Debtors 2 lakhs.
debtors 2 lakhs. Liquidation expenses.
27 to 50.
Then other assets. Liquidators remuneration or asset realized பார்த்தா
5%.
on asset realized means all asset realized.
3 lakhs bank loan. Other 2 lakhs are
into எவ்வளோ percent?
5%.
bank loan. Other
57.
the land and building 3 lakhs realized. Second,
How much?
57.
upper 2 lakhs.
On unsecured.
Bills. Debenture holders. What is the face value?
2 lakh 50,000.
Accrued interest on the balance sheet.
12,500.
Then add interest up to. I hope it is settled on the balance sheet date, so no extra will come. 2 lakh.
62,500.
12,500 அது.
Yes, sir.
So total 2 lakh.
62,500.
No extra period covered, so fully paid. What is the next one?
Unsecured.
Preferential creditors, whatever is amount payable to the government and employees. 72,000.
500.
Then other that creditors given in the balance sheet. Separate கொடுத்திருக்காங்க, separate line item 2 lakhs. Now wait. Well, paying the commission to the liquidator, on which amount you will pay?
2 lakhs.
Clearly they mentioned 1% on the amount distributed to what? Unsecured creditors other than preferential creditors. So simple. So how much you will pay? 2 lakhs into
1%.
how much it will be? 2,000. Then preference share capital
5 lakhs.
Arrears are dividend for how many years?
2 years.
So 5 lakhs into 6% for how many years? 2 years. How much it comes?
62.
60,000. Huh? So total 5 lakh 60,000. Okay, balance deficit varudilliya.
Yes, sir.
So I hope the payments are more than what? Receipts deficit varudhu, we will check. Take up to this, then we will proceed. Up to this you are clear, right? Okay.
Fifty. 2300 to 1000. 3,300. That's it. அதிகமா இருக்கு.
புரியல. Now, what is the paid up capital? Say 75 paid எவ்வளவு இருக்கு? No. Capital. Tell me the amount. 187? 500. Then 60 paid?
4 lakh.
4 lakh? 4,50,000. What is the total? See, if there is a surplus available, we will put less surplus available. Apart from that, add deficit. Deficit. What is the deficit? Yeah, the difference. 11,81,750 on the payment side, 11,25,000 on the receipt side. How much? 50? 56,750. Yeah. Then total loss. Already they invested this much plus this much. What is the total loss? 6,94,250. Now let us work out loss per share. 6,94,250 divided by how many shares are there?
10,000 total.
10,000. What will be 69.425. This is the loss per share. So we have got two categories. One is how much paid up? 75 paid up. Another 60 paid up. Less loss per share. What is the loss per share? So surplus எவ்வளவு வருது பாருங்க. 75 minus this value. For the other party deficit இருக்கும். 60 minus this one. This is a surplus and deficit. Wait பண்ணுங்க. Number of shares எவ்வளவு இருக்கு? 7,500. Multiply it, you will get the amount to be collected and paid. 5.75 into 2,500 we will pay. This we will collect. So, payment to equity shareholders. This payment to equity shareholders will come. Deficit collected from equity shareholders, this amount will come. Ali. Okay. Should tally, you know. How many shares are 75 paid up?
இது வந்து ஆட் பண்ணி தானே
இல்ல இல்ல
70 68 13
the loss அதிகமா இருக்கு இல்லையா, which means we have to collect this money. Deficit we have to collect, surplus we will pay it back. First, is it correct?
சார் இது ஆட் தானே சார். இப்போ வந்து அந்த இவங்க வந்து லாஸ்ட்டும் பே பண்ணுவாங்க ப்ளஸ் இவங்களோட சர்ப்ளஸ்க்கும் பே பண்ணுவாங்க.
ஆமா.
அப்போ அது ரெண்டுத்தையும் செட் ஆஃப் பண்ணி தானே நம்ம வந்து இந்த இதில் போகிறோம். மைனஸ் 7688 ப்ளஸ் 13937 will give 5670. அதான் வந்து ஸ்டேட்மெண்ட்.
சேம் தானே, டெபிட்ல போட்டு கிரெடிட்ல.
சார் அந்த டோட்டல் கரெக்டா தான் வரும்.
Total கரெக்டா வரும்.
119
சார் நீங்க மைனஸ் போட்டீங்க.
அட பண்ணா
ஓ மைனஸ் போட்டுனா சார். correct.
இப்ப டெபிட் பண்ணி கிரெடிட் பண்ணாலும் சேம் இருக்கு. இந்த சைடு ரெண்டு கிரெடிட் பண்ணிருக்காங்க. பேமெண்ட் டு equity ஷேர் வந்து டெபிசிட் கலர்.
Yes.
எல்லாம் வேஸ்ட். வரல 4.6. வெரி குட். இல்ல இந்த 15 இது வந்து அதான் x வந்து 15 இருக்கு. y plus 15 எக்ஸ்ட்ரா 15 பேமெண்ட். y வந்து y ஏ பேர் ஒன்னு எக்ஸ் பண்ணுங்க. அதான் x y x plus 15 அதான்
Or
நோ சார்.
yes, from one category we collect, for the other category we pay. Question number 7 over. Question number 8 பாருங்களேன். Go through question number 8. It's a simple question only. Please go through that. Preference shares 50,000, then equity shares 1 lakh, totally 1,50,000. Debentures are given, then creditors. We go to property, plant and machinery, furniture, stock, debtors. Bank balance is available 9,000. Then the company passed a resolution to voluntarily wind up. Okay. Preference dividend are in arrears for how many years? 2 years. AOA says that preference share capital present in the capital shall confer the shareholder rate of which one? A fixed cumulative preference dividend of how much?
5%.
5% and shall rank for. Okay, simple. They just say that you just pay the preference share capital plus arrears of dividend. Next, what is the next one?
Dividends are secured on freehold.
Debentures are secured on freehold property. Okay. It is not a generally secured, it's specifically secured. Okay. Interest is payable is on what? 31st March and 30th September. Interest due on 30th September was paid. Look at the balance sheet given. 1st October. Balance sheet is given on what date?
October.
1st October. We paid interest till the yesterday.
Why you let
Okay. The interest was paid till the last day. That's just before one day at the Mari. What is the next one? Amounts shown as creditors include what is it? Rates, income tax, compensation payable to the workmen. What is it? Preferential creditors. This will be called as preferential creditors. Then freehold property realized, plant and machinery realized, furniture, stock, debtors realized is given. Liquidation cost how much?
6,000.
6,000. Then
Liquidator remuneration was
traders remuneration is 2.5% of the amounts realized plus 2,000. It's a fixed amount. Okay. Debentures are paid on 31st December 2017. Kuturka. We asked you to prepare what? Liquidators statement of final account showing the final distribution. A simple question only. We have got only one class of shares, right? Preference share and which one? Equity shares are there. We can do it. You can do it. Start. Tell me so that I will fill up. What is the cash in hand and balance at bank?
9,000.
Which was having a specific security?
Debentures.
Okay, what is asset name?
Freehold property.
How much?
60,000.
Less debentures. What is the face value?
42.
Not over.
Interest for the
Less interest up to what date? So how many months interest you have to pay?
3 months.
Already up to September it was paid. 40,000 into how much percentage? 5%. For how many months? 3 months. How much it is? 500. Huh?
500, sir.
19,500. Then what are the other assets realized? Tell me one by one.
Plant and machinery,
Plant and machinery, how much?
42,000.
Then furniture and fittings,
5,500.
5,500. Then
Stock,
stock,
54,000.
54,000. Then
Debtor,
debtors,
32,000.
32,000. Then liquidation expense கொடுத்திருக்கானா? How much?
6,000.
Liquidators remuneration on all assets realized. 1,33,500 plus 60,000. This into 2.5% plus 2,000. Clear கொடுத்திருக்கான். On all assets realized plus how much percentage? 2.5% plus 2,000 rupees extra. How much it will come? How much?
Six thousand 807.
68.
37.37.
Debenture holders payment will not come here because it is specifically secured. Preferential creditors, just add all the three which is mentioned separately. What and all will come in preferential creditors?
Rates
1200, 1850, 1000. What is the total?
4,050.
Others will be the balance. This 89,000 minus that amount.
84,950.
How much? 84.
950.
Then preference shareholders.
1 lakh is the case.
What is the preference share capital? 1 lakh.
50,000.
Arrears of dividend. 50,000 into
5%.
5% for 2 years. Multiply.
5,000.
Balance available to equity shareholders. How much will be paid per share? 5162.5 divided by எவ்வளவு shares இருக்கு பாருங்க equity share 1 lakh shares. So we'll give you rupee 0.05, like 5 paise per share they will get back. Simple question now, no difficulty in this. Or done. Okay, 10,000 preference shares. Next question. Next question you can just go through. Ninth question. whether this chapter itself gets over. Thereafter, we have to go for learning about B list of contributories. It will just take 2 minutes of time. Okay, go through that. Preparation of deficiency account we learn in a fresh class. Liquidator statement of final accounts gets over with 9th question. This is the models possible in the exam. Question number 9. Parang. Share capital. Check the share capital. 10,000 preference shares of 10 each. 5,000 equity shares. Calls and arrear is there for how many shares? 1,000 per share. That is 1,000 is there. 10,000 equity shares of 10 each. 5 paid up. 20,000 equity shares of 10 each. 3 paid up is given. Loan against pledge of raw material is given. Preferential creditors and what? Other creditors are given. Cash at bank. Stock of raw materials. Stock of other raw materials. Other assets. Then which one? P&L account debit balance is given to us. Realization is given. Stock realized by the bank is 30,000. What is the loan? 38,000. For the remaining balance, they will become which one? Unsecured creditors. Other stocks is given. Remaining assets are given. Liquidator 1,000 rupees plus 3% on what?
Realized.
Gross amount.
Realized.
Is it gross amount realized given? Check it. Gross amount
Realized.
realized by him. What do you mean they realized by him? Whether stock of raw material realized by the bank, you will get commission? No. In the other stock remaining assets only, you will get the commission. For the point number 1, you will not get the commission because it was realized by what? Bank. Point number 2 and 3, you will get the commission. Other cost and charges amount to how much? 1,000. Equity shares, same, carry same right, etc. is given to us. Show liquidators final statement of accounts. Here, how many categories are there? 4 categories are there. One is 5,000 shares left. 4,000 shares are fully paid up. 4,000 shares are fully paid up. 1,000 shares, how much calls and arrear is there? 1 rupee calls and arrear is there, means how much paid up? 9 rupee paid up. This 10,000, 5 rupee paid up. This 20,000, 3 rupee paid up. 3 rupee paid up, like that. The categories are there that we will see. Let us start with the liquidator statement of final accounts. Let us see the deficit or surplus. Based on that, let us decide whether to collect or pay. Start. What is the balance at bank?
4,000.
Then, which was secured asset? Stock. Ever realized?
30.
30,000 less bank loan எவ்வளவு இருக்கு?
30.
38,000 இருக்கு. Balance how much?
800.
To be included in which one?
Unsecured.
Unsecured creditors. ₹8,000 will be carried forward and included in which one? Unsecured creditors. Then what are the other assets realized? Other stocks. Other stocks are realized.
80,000.
Then
Remaining assets.
assets
20,000.
liquidation expenses. How much?
11,000.
11,000. Huh? Liquidators remuneration will not be paid for asset stock realized by bank. It's really very clearly used. How much percentage? How much
3%.
percentage?
Plus 2,000.
Wordings are clearly used. 3% of the gross amounts realized by him. So 3% on the amount released by him means 1 lakh into எவ்வளோ percent? 3%. என்ன வரும்? Plus இன்னும் fixed எவ்வளோ கொடுக்குறோம்? 1000. Then any debentures are there? No debentures are there. Then preferential creditors, how much is there? 1000. Others எவ்வளவு இருக்கு பாருங்க. 1,01,800 plus 8,000. Preferential shareholders irukangala? Yes, 1 lakh. Any arrears of dividend? Check for any arrears of dividend. Any arrears of dividend specified to us in the problem? No. Preference share capital, how much? 1 lakh people. I hope deficit should come. So there's a huge deficit. Shall we? Now look at the paid up capital. Paid up capital as given, you can take it. On the equity alone, 50,000 minus 1,000 plus 50,000 plus 60,000. 50,000 minus 1,000 plus 50,000 plus 60,000. Don't take preference. Equity or preference share cap. Paid up capital எவ்வளவு இருக்கு பாருங்க. Paid up capital, equity share cap total after adjusting calls and arrears. 1 lakh. 1 lakh.
1,39,000.
Add deficit. எவ்வளவு deficit இருக்கு? So what is it?
1,15,000.
அதானே பார்த்தேன். 2,59,000 minus 1 lakh போட்டுதான் வந்திருக்கணும். 1,59,000. Add deficit, what is the total you get? This is the total loss. Loss per share. How many shares are there?
35,000.
Check. 5,000 plus 10,000 plus 20,000. How many shares are there? 30?
35,000.
What is the loss per share?
8.028.
8.03. So let us take paid up values. Different paid up values are there. What are the different paid up values given?
9,
10, 10 minus 1, 9,
9,
then
5,
5
3.
and 3. Loss per share. Surplus deficit how many shares are fully paid up?
4,000.
4,000 shares and 1,000 calls in arrears. 4,000 shares, 1,000 shares in the category
10,000, 20,000.
multiply it, you will get. $4,000 into 1.97. These two amounts we have to collect. These two amounts we have to, the last two amounts we have to collect. This is to be paid.
Sir,
Killing.
can there be a situation where the loss per share is more than 10 rupees?
Possible, but shareholders will pay maximum 10.
So the remaining loss will be transferred to which account?
Efficiency account.
Deficit.
The unpaid amounts to the creditors, different shareholders, outsiders. If there is any unpaid amount, that will be transferred to the efficiency. To be collected minus to be paid, less பண்ணி பாருங்க வருதான்னு பார்க்கலாம். 1,00600 இது to be collected minus these things. Some difference might come because of the rounding off. It's not actually 8.03 இல்லையா, and some difference might come. No difference. 50 rupees difference. Yeah, and the 0.03 round up under earlier. 0.03 into 10,000 will make a difference of 30 rupees in the current. Add பண்ணி பாருங்க இந்த ரெண்டும் 30,300 plus 1,00600 minus amount to be paid less பண்ணி பார்த்தா you should get 1,22,000. Difference might come, 50 rupees can come, no issues. இல்ல அது actually 8.03 இல்லையா, we rounded up. Even 0.01 into 10,000 10 rupees 100 rupees difference will come.
அந்த 50 rupees எங்க சார்
எடுக்காதீங்க, விட்டுருங்க. தருவாங்க, they won't reduce any mark. Because if this problem is asked, the students are tested, are you understanding the difference between a 9 rupee paid shareholder and 10 rupee paid shareholder? If 9 rupee paid shareholder gets 0.97, 1 rupee made is paid to her, 1 rupee extra will be given to the other person. Simple, pay attention. You பாருங்க, loss per share பாருங்களேன், deficit If a 5 rupee paid shareholder bears a deficit of 3.03, you invested 5 rupees. How much of deficit you are bearing? 3.03. For a shareholder who invested just 3 rupees, will bear 2 more rupees deficit. Okay. ஆமா நம்ம இவ்வளவு நேரம் கிளாஸ் அட்டெண்ட் பண்ற படிக்கிறோம் இல்லையா மழை வரும்.
Point cycle.
Next.
Sir,
Yes, please.
if the amount அந்த deficiency account சொல்லுங்க, அதுக்கு பதிலா can we assist it against preference shareholder?
Yeah, if preference shareholders are ready to pay, but if they are fully paid, they will not pay it again. We'll see. We are going to check with the liquidators, deficiency account, list A, list B, list C, poro. At the time, you will see that. Yeah. Next. Everybody, please have the heading. If this is asked, again, same like your consolidated financial statements, pay attention. If consolidated financial statement is asked, all the 6 steps plus balance sheet, right? If they ask you consolidated income statement, simple, right? Same way, in the liquidation, one of the simplest area that the lucky students get in the exam is the next one. For 5 marks, they ask this every time. Okay, when you are lucky, start. Are they getting B list of contributories? B list of contributories. What do you mean by A list of contributories?
Who are currently
Equity shareholders holding partly paid shares
at the time
at the time of what?
binding.
Winding up. What does B list refers to?
Prior
Equity shareholders who transferred their which one? Partly paid shares within
1 year.
1 year prior to winding up of the company. That is called as which one?
B list.
B list of contributories. Now listen, pay attention, everybody pay attention. First you will try to collect money from which list? A list. If the money is insufficient only, you will go for what? B list. Everybody pay attention. If there is a shortage, try to collect from A list. Further, if there is a shortage, go to which list? B list. Now, how much they are liable? How much they are liable? Start. Now start. Liability of B list of contributories. Least of the following. Least of the following, or you can say minimum of the following. A. Proportionate share of liabilities contracted before the transfer of shares. What do you mean by this? Sir, today I transferred the shares. I am liable to whatever has been contracted by the company before this. Loan was taken before this. Some goods were purchased before this. I am liable only for this one. Wait, listen. When am I transferring the shares today? Today I am transferring the shares. I am liable for goods purchased, liabilities contracted till today. Tomorrow if the company takes an additional loan or buys additional material, am I liable for that? No, that's why proportionate share of liability contracted. If contracted means contractual obligation before the company, before the transfer of which one? Partly paid up shares, or B. Unpaid value of shares transferred. Unpaid value of shares transferred. Minimum of the following. Okay. Take the proportionate share of liability before the transfer of my partly paid up shares, or which one? Unpaid value of shares transferred. For example, unpaid value is 30 rupees per share. I transferred 500 shares, na? 500 into 30. Whichever is less will be taken as what? Liability for which list? B list. So from this we understand the concept. When we solve a problem, how to work out the numbers you will understand. Okay. Have we taken up this?
சார் அப்போ ரெண்டுமே சைமல்டேனியஸா நடக்கும் பேமெண்ட்டும் கலெக்ட். ஏன்னா நம்ம வந்து கிரெடிட் சைடு ஆக்சுவல்ஸ் சொன்னா டெபிசிட் வரப்ப நம்மளால பே பண்ணவே முடியல. ஸோ நம்ம கலெக்ட் பண்ணிட்டு அதுக்கப்புறம் பே பண்ற மாதிரி தானே.
Ama, that's why Liquidators final statement of accounts. This is prepared and given after everything is over. Okay. So if there is a deficit, collect from A list. Further, if there is a deficit, collect from what? B list. Further, if there is a deficit, if there is a reserve capital available, we can collect money from the, reserve capital, which is reserved to be called at the time of winding of the.
பே பண்ணணும்ன்றது போட்டா தானே
தேவையில்லை.
சார் நம்ம
Sometimes the money available will be very, very lesser. Even after collecting all these category, money will not be sufficient to pay your unsecured creditors. You collect money from all assets realized, A list, B list. Okay, the total money available may not be even paid available to pay to what? Unsecured creditors.
அந்த ரைட்ல பே பண்ற மாதிரி தானே.
See, for examination situation, it is like that. Practical scenario, it is totally different. Examination situation, we are able to collect and pay. Deficit is collected from so and so like that. These practical cases, yes. You collect then pay. You collect then pay. Start. Go to the next question. Which question? 16. Or sorry, question number 10. Question number 10 and 11 are the most repeated question in the exam without even changing the numbers. Liquidation of YZ Limited commenced on what date? 2nd April 2000. Look at when winding up process started.
To second April.
2nd April 2018. Certain creditors could not receive the payment out of the realization of assets and out of contribution from what? A list. The following details are transferred to place in 1718. Who are the shareholders who transferred the shares? APQRS could transfer. How many shares are transferred? 2000, 1500, 1500, 300 like that it is given. Creditors remaining unpaid or outstanding on the date of such transfer is given to us. Now how many shareholders are there? APQRS, 5 shareholders are there. When winding up started? 2nd April 2018. Tell me who will not come in this list. Look at date of transfer of shares away. A will not come in the list because it is beyond 1 year. Beyond 1 year. Otherwise, when we started winding up? 2nd April, which means 2nd April 2017 onwards, over transferred shares will come in which list? B list. So who will come in B list? P, Q, R and what? Yes. Pay attention. What is the face value? 10 rupees. How much paid up value? 8 rupees. So what is the unpaid value of share? 2 rupees is the unpaid value of share. Now what I request is just help me in filling up the table or whatever. Then you can take up the answer. Wait. Okay, let me take shareholder. Who are the shareholder? P, Q, R, yes. Number of shares transferred. How much? 1500, 1000, 500 and 300. Pay attention. Any doubt in it? Then date of transfer Date of transfer. When is the date of transfer? 1st May. 1st May then. 1st October then. 1st November then. 1st February. Now, who transferred the share first? P. Wait. Let us assume I am the shareholder P. Who transferred the shares on which date? 1st May. On that date, listen carefully. On the date, who are the other shareholders? QRS were there as a shareholder. They transferred the shares subsequent to me. So, for the liability outstanding on 1st May, what is the liability outstanding on 1st May?
3,000.
Liability outstanding on 1st May paranga. 3,300. For this liability, who are all liable? Ramatilla, you are also shareholder, no? For the 3,300, who are liable? P, Q, R, yes. They will share. In which ratio? In this ratio. What is the ratio? What is the ratio? 15 is to 15 is to 10 is to 5 is to 3 ratio. In this ratio, they will share this 3,300. Share this 3,300 in this ratio. How much will come? 15 by 1,000? 500, 1,000, 500, then 300. So total another 3,300. This 3,300 is shared like this. You understand? Liability outstanding on the date is shared by P, Q, R, S. Why? Along with me, who are shareholders at that time? QRS also. Next paranga. What happens next? 1st October 2017, who transferred shares? Q transferred shares. What is the extra liability contracted? So, additional liability. Okay. On what date? 1st October. How much? 1,000. This will be shared by whom? Q, R, and S. Why? P was not there at that time. P transferred shares prior to that. For the extra liability contracted, whoever is the shareholder at that time are liable in a ratio. 10 is to 5 is to 3 ratio. You share this 1,000 rupees. Clear? For this 1,000 rupees, P is not liable. Who are liable? Q, R, S are liable. How much?
555.5.
555 then
277.
278. Okay.
166.67.
166.
167. Then who's the next transferor? Or when he transferred?
1st November.
1st November, what is the extra liability contracted?
300.
What is extra liability contracted? 300. Additional liability on what date? 1st
November.
November, how much?
300.
300. This will be shared by R and S. The ratio
5.
5 is to 3 ratio. The 300 5 is to 3 ratio will split
188.
188.
112. 112.
112. So this additional 1,000 shared, then additional 300 is shared. Next. When next?
1st February.
1st February, additional liability paranga 4,600 to 6,000. Get difference? 1,400. When? Additional liability on which date?
1st February.
1st February. How much?
1,400.
400. Only to whom?
Yes.
Yes. So this will be shared only by yes 1,400. So if you add up, if you add up, P is liable for this 1,500. Others in a liability. Total add panna 6,000 varum. So wait pannunga. This is called as proportionate share of liability contracted before
The transfer.
the transfer of shares. This is the first part. Or which one? Unpaid value of shares transferred. Simple. How many shares he transferred?
1,500.
1,500 into 2. The other man? 1,000 into 2. Next.
500.
500 into 2. Then 300 into 2. So unpaid value of liability 3,000, 2,000, 1,600. Now tell me the liability.
1,500.
For this person, come here. So what is the liability? For A, how much?
1,500.
You know, the liability share 1,500, I will contribute 1,500. B, 1,555, 966. Then last person will contribute. Share of liability may be 1,979, sir. But I am liable only to the unpaid value of shares held by me. Share of liability is how much? 1,979. But liability is restricted to what? 600. This is the final liability. Any doubt in it? The first one is shared by PQRS. Next additional liability is shared by what? QRS. Next additional liability R and S. The last one only by S. So proportionate share of liability is this much. Unpaid value of shares transferred is this much. Whichever is less is the liability for which? B list of contributories. So this is tested ranging from 5 marks to 8 marks in the exam. Nothing more, nothing less in B list. இப்போ total liability பாருங்க எவ்வளவு இருக்குன்னு. இது ஒரு 3,300 இங்கோடு எவ்வளவு இருந்துச்சு? 1,000. Another one 300. What is the total?
1,400.
1,400. Totally how much? 6,000 is the total liability. But the liability for B list பாருங்களேன். 4,621 only they contribute. Which means out of 6,000 of creditors, we are able to collect only how much? From B list, we will be able to collect 4,621. Remaining in now deficiency. Please remember, from the receiving end, we will use the word bad debts. From the paying end, when we are not able to pay, Gandhi Kanak, deficiency.
Sir, can the amount of credit cards decrease அதுக்கப்புறம் increase ஆகலாமா?
ஆகலாம். இன்க்ரீஸ் ஆன டிகிரீஸ் ஆனா ரிவர்ஸ் பண்ணிக்கங்க அவ்வளவுதான்.
சப்ட்ராக்ட் பண்ணணுமா?
ஆமா. பட் இது வரைக்கும் சி இன்ஸ்டியூட் அந்த மாதிரி ப்ராப்ளம் கொடுக்கல.
Okay.
So out of 6,000 only 4,621 is paid. Remaining is a deficiency. In the other book they will write it off as bad debts. Those who have completed can try the next question. Identify the B list, then share, prepare the table and close. Proportionate share of liability contracted before the transfer of shares. Unpaid value of shares transferred, whichever is less. Who will come in the B list? Question number 11. 10th May, so P is eliminated. So QRST will come in B list. 10 rupees face value, 6 rupees paid up. Shall we? Okay. B list shareholders. In the same order, tell me what are the things?
QRST.
How many shares?
1200.
1200 then?
1500. 800.
1500 then?
800.
800 then?
500.
500. Okay, first, who transferred?
Q.
Liability on what date?
15 May.
15th May. How much?
5000.
In a ratio.
12 is to 15 is to 8 is to 5.
Transfer this.
1500. 1875. 1625. 625.
Then, what is the next liability? Liability on
18 September.
18th September.
4000.
Additional liability.
4200.
4,200 in a ratio.
15 is to 8 is to 5.
How much?
2250. 1200. 750.
7.
50.
Next, additional liability.
On 24 December.
Rupees
1300.
only for
1300.
1,300 is only for
800. 500.
then additional liability on
12th March.
March. How much? Rupees
500.
500 to
T.
T. Share of unpaid liability. What is the unpaid value of shares? 1,200 into 4. 1,500 into 4.
800 into
800 into 4. Then 500 into 4. What is it? 4,800. 6,000.
3000.
3,200. Last one 2,000. So liability of B list of contributories. 1,500, 4125, 3000 and
2,000.
23.
10,000.
Oh,
2,000.
This is liability of which one? B list of contributories. So in liquidation, what is pending is preparation of deficiency account and list A, list B பார்த்திருக்கோம். What is list A? Current shareholders. List B? Okay, now we will see list C, E, D, E, F, G. அதெல்லாம் பார்ப்போம். That we will do on Tuesday's class. Tuesday we will have accounts, advanced accounts, where in which we will have or we will complete the balance area. So the next session we will complete which one? Liquidation.